What you're looking at there is the original Den kit by the Den Kit company. Now, this is a concept based around getting young kids outdoors playing. It has the capacity to create a little bit of a shelter, and it comes with a few other little things that aid the kids to have a little bit of a woodland or outdoors adventure. Yeah, the Den kit, which is the original one, which is basically their what it looks to be a kind of starter kit to their range. They have a multitude of other types of bags which have different themes and outgoing price tags with it. This one was £45 from Amazon, and I'm sure you can get it direct, and I'm sure there's possibly other outlets that have it, but this one in itself was £45 from Amazon. Yeah, once it's unwrapped, you're presented with the satchel, but the thing that grabs your eye straight away, straight off the bat, is the actual cardboard sleeve that wraps around the satchel. And you're faced with the logo and Made for Adventure on the very top, and it's got some contour lines as a pattern throughout. So instantly it's looking very, very outdoorsy, and it's not done in a adult format, which is off-putting for youngsters. Everything about this suggests fun from just quickly looking at the actual sleeve. Now, the picture on the front obviously gives you that format of the den in its should we say configuration, with some happy kids bouncing around and playing in and around the actual den. It's got its logo, and then it's got its actual model, or the actual kit, which is obviously the original Den kit, which is the basic one that we've purchased. Everything you need to build a den outside. So it's pretty direct to the point, it's pretty slick, it looks nice, and we'll just turn it over. On the opposite side of the sleeve you get a breakdown of the contents, and it all looks very, shall we say, very outdoorsy from the very outset. It says take a peek inside, and then you've got a few paragraphs stating basically the idea behind it, what they're trying to provide, and shall we say just giving you a little bit of a incentive to what this can possibly offer the child or children, shall I say, in an outside environment. The actual cardboard sleeve comes off relatively easy. It's just held on by a piece of brown tape. There is some further bits of information you would possibly like to read, and once you've done that, you're left with the bag in its entirety, or satchel. You're drawn instantly straight to the logo, which says the Den Kit Company, has its pine tree logo and Made for Adventure. Now that draws your eye to it straight away, and it's an attractive looking logo. The actual, shall we say, badge, or shall we say the motif, is pretty well stuck on. It doesn't look like it's going to come off, rub off, or be knocked off or wore off. So that's a good indication that you're dealing with something of some sort of quality at the very outset. My initial first look at this suggests the actual material is quite rugged. The stitching looks acceptable, and all the buckles seem to have some sort of durability to them. So I would be very surprised if you would be disappointed with that. It's looking, shall we say, well made. So I'm quite happy to say that. And it also reminds me, this bag or satchel, of the ones that many of us in the very late 70s and 80s would have took to school of this sort of nature in various different colours. So, you know, it's a proven format. So I'm now going to start opening this up, because I can honestly say it does look of a substantial wearing material, and it looks like it's built to do the job. To gain entry, it's a basic latch buckle where you'd have to lift it to the top and then turn this end cap, which is of a metal construction, pull it through and then slide it back out. But as you can see, that end cap will then catch on the buckle, and it's kind of to stop things running or falling out. It has to be turned at a slight sideways angle and pushed through that, and it's not easy with one hand, but there you go. And that would stop it just working its way open and everything flapping out as a young child would be running across a field or through a woodland. So it has to be turned slightly sideways to get through this buckle, but that is a good thing to, as I've just described, to stop things falling out as children are running around with it. Gaining entry, you just literally, once you've done the buckles, fold it back over, then you're presented with the contents of the bag. First off, you can see the shoulder strap, and it is quite generous, and I would say it's of enough of a size for any child, even adult. It comes with a, shall we say, thicker part to take the load or the weight on the shoulder, even though this kit doesn't really consist of any, shall we say, undue weight. The stitching's okay, so that should do the job. So it's looking all good so far, and there is actual ample adjustment on side buckles for the satchel shoulder strap to, should we say, be adjusted to an individual child's needs. Right, delving inside, first thing you're going to come across is a wooden mallet. Now this mallet here is obviously made from a small log or tree branch. It is what you would expect it to be, a wooden mallet, and it's sort of a pretty rough shaped manufacture. You have a shaped handle there. Even for an adult, that fits into the hand, and you can see this will do the job. And I should imagine the kids would have a lot of fun doing the tent pegs and actually bashing other sticks and twigs into the ground as well. So yes, this would be quite ample to do that particular role and job. Next, I'm going to pull out some cordage. I don't have an idea on the actual length, but it does look like a substantial amount. It's not paracord. It is of a fibre cordage, and looks like you get a fair bit there. And on top of that, it's of a nice gauge. It's nothing that's going to snap. It's nothing that looks like it's going to take mega serious weight or abuse, but then again, this actual cordage is just for a den. Now I would say that is more than ample for the job, and on top of that you're getting more than enough to do the job. So yet again, this particular item fits the bill, and I should say that this is going to be very adequate for the role it's intended for. Right, next I'm going to pull out what is, and you can feel even through the paper, it is a cup. So I should take this apart, and here you have it. It is well wrapped, and with good reason really, because it is I should bring it up here. Yeah, that was well wrapped, and like you say, with good reason, because it's an enamel type of cup. It's got its logo again there, looks very attractive, and it's got that navy blue rim, which gives it that, shall we say, slightly retro camping look. It's ice diamond white, and yes, it's very attractive, and it's it feels substantial. It's got a little bit of weight to it, not too much. The handle looks like it's well in place. There's no cracking. The enamel looks all good. Yeah, this cup will do the job, and it will serve its purpose. And it's just adding to the actual, shall we say, feel, and shall we say, it just adds that little bit something special to this particular item of the den kit, just to make the kids or youngsters feel they are actually out doing an expedition or camping trip. Next up, I'm going to pull out what to me looks like or is the actual ground sheet. Now, this is just a basic, what I would call a basic tarp, really, in a kind of very light green. It's got a weave mesh running through it, and it's of the type you would buy in your general hardware store to cover your car or any garden applications. It's not the heaviest gauge tarp that you're going to get, but yet again, I will state it will be adequate enough for kids to make a den with. It is what it is, and yes, this will do the job as a ground sheet for your children to make a den from this particular kit. And on top of that, it doesn't look like it. I'm not going to unwrap the whole size of it, but I can already see that it's not of a size which is going to overwhelm young children with masses and masses of shall we say, material, and then obviously they get swamped and it all becomes frustrating. It looks to be just enough to put a ground sheet down. It looks just strong enough to do the job. It will provide the kids with somewhere dry to sit instead of being on the grass or, shall we say, the forest litter on the floor, and it will do just the job. As I've stated before, this isn't the hardest wearing tarp that you're going to get, but it's just enough to do the job. And the eyelets, if we come back to them, they're embossed in. It's been reinforced on the edges there a little bit, and it is what it is. It's not going to be something that you're going to go up into the Scottish Highland Mountains with, but this is what it is. It's for the kids to make a den, and this is more than adequate for it. And I would be happy to put my name and say that is the case. I feel that it is just for that particular role and job. It suits its purpose. I've just pulled out a card from the bag, and basically it's kind of giving you different configurations to use the tarps and the ground sheets. So that's good. I mean, for anybody who is a total newbie to anything outdoors, that gives you something to work to. And the diagrams themselves clearly state for a young child or an adult that has no understanding of the outdoors environment, or has done no basic camping or has no skills. Even those diagrams does give you some idea of something that you should be able to work to. There is a few bits on the back stating basically knots, top tips, and preparing your site, and when it's time to leave and things like that, and basically it's just a bit of an information kind of piece of card, but it's something worth to keep in your bag because we all forget things, and it's a nice little touch. Right then, next I'm pulling out is the actual tarp itself. It's of a DPM pattern, It looks quite attractive. It is of the same sort of material, although it's more, shall I say, full. The fibres seem to be, or they seem to have a, shall we say, degree of covering over them more than the ground sheet. So I would suggest that this is possibly substantially waterproof as well. Yes, that's been a little bit of a pleasant surprise. Yes, this does look a little bit more, and the weaves look a little bit tighter on this. Yeah, this does look like it could actually be waterproof, and I would suggest it actually is. I wouldn't suggest it's monsoon proof, but yes, feeling it, I would be happy to say that is waterproof. Showerproof, rainproof, obviously not stormproof. I'll try and find the eyelets here. As you can see, I don't want to open everything right up. Right, let's get an eyelet. Here we go. Right, they're embossed over. They've got a doubled over. So it's been doubled over and embossed. So there is a little bit of strength to it. Obviously, it's not. It would not be rated for any kind of wind conditions or use in serious, weather conditions. But that's probably a given. Well, that would be a given if we're dealing with children. So you can probably disregard that. This is basically just a den, and as an adult, you probably keep forgetting that, but this is just for children to have some fun and feel like they're actually out there camping, give them their first tastes of being out in the wild. So yes, disregarding my first, initial thought there, yeah, this would be more than enough. It's pulled over, it's doubled over, it's embossed, and like I said, it's definitely showerproof, and like I say, it would get the kids out there, and they would be able to make a camouflage den, which obviously adds that little bit more excitement, with it being camouflaged. It just gives them that little bit of a feel that it could be something a little bit more than it actually is as regard to just camping. They might feel they're on some expedition. Putting the two beside each other, you can see the colour differences. And yeah, like you say, it's definitely going to give them the feel that they're off on a little adventure. And like I say, they're both man enough to do the job. And I would state that the actual tarp itself looks to be a slightly tighter grade of weave. I could be mistaken, it could be just a trickle of light, but I think this would be adequate for showers and very light rain. Next thing I've just pulled out is some camouflage cream. This here comes in like a green and brown, and it's of a push like kind of lipstick type of mechanism. And once the kids have got their den or shelter up in whatever configuration, and they've got some pop and crisps and sweets on the go, and then cover them with a bit of camouflage cream, I'm sure they're going to have a whale of a time, and they'll definitely be swept up in the moment. And should we say, given that enthusiastic outlook that they're actually out there doing something in their imagination and fully enjoying the outdoors. So yeah, this is just a nice little touch. Everyone knows that if their kids can get hold of any of, shall we say, their dads, uncles, or anybody like that that's been in the military and got loads of Camo Cream kicking about as you get it thrown at you when you're on exercise, kids just love plastering themselves in it. So this is just a nice touch, and this will give that kids that real sense of purpose to really explore their imagination. Right, I'm now pulling out another bag, and it's of a small little tie system bag. Now it has its logo all on the front again. Looks very attractive. The bag feels very sturdy. It's of a drawstring type. And I'll just tip it out. And what you're offered with then is a series of tent pegs. Now, how many do you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tent pegs. So they've been generous. I would have expected about 6. We have 8 there. Obviously, tent pegs aren't the most expensive things in the world, but you know, it's been put in there, a bit of thought in the process, as in, you know, the tent pegs, you might as well just give people what they need, and you've got 8 there, so you're well, shall we say, adapted to make those configurations that you want to make. Now, yes, they're not that bendable. Like I say, they're quite strong. I think the kids will be able to give them a good solid whack with that mallet, and they're not going to deform. They're not aluminium. I think they're steel or stainless steel. I'm not sure on the metal construction. It's not a cheap aluminium one anyway. Yeah, it's not aluminium ones. So yeah, there's a bit of durability there. And with things like this, if they do get lost, you can go to any camping shop and purchase camping pegs for a small investment. Not very much indeed. But for the kit, you get 8 good quality ones, I would say, that will do the job. And yet again, I'm surprised. I did actually think they would possibly have been aluminium, but they're steel, so you've got a bit of durability there straight off the bat, shall I say. So that's a big plus. So once all the items are out, as I've just got all here, as you can see, you can make a den. Now with that den, obviously, you know, you can make memories. Kids will treasure those moments, and it's just that small little concept of being able to give a kid a den. And as youngsters, we can all remember raiding our dad's sheds, garages for anything like tarps, hammers, and taking cups and like grabbing satchels and rope from our dad's gardens and so that's the Den Kit company's offerings with the original Den Kit. What's my initial thoughts on it? Well, I would actually say I'm quite impressed, really. Somebody's put a bit of thought into it, and what might look, when you lay it out, as not being, shall we say, an exhaustive shall we say, inventory of stuff that you could put in or take with you, we must always remember this is aimed at children and them making memories. What do children need? Just a little bit of shelter, a little bit of something to make them think that they're out in the woods doing something, or out in the back garden doing something. And as young children, many of us, as I've alluded to, would have shall we say, given our right arm to have something in a satchel which would have felt like we were marching off on an expedition to go and make camps and, you know, tackle that wide world in our imaginations. It's all there in that bag. The only thing limiting its imagination possibilities is the adults that will be there supervising those children. As with everything there, with a mallet, tent pegs, and obviously a mallet and things like that, children do need to be supervised, but that's pretty much a given anyway. But stand back, sit back, let the kids have this kit, help them if they need some help, and then sit back and watch them have, you know, a real time in their own little world, forging memories and I can honestly say this kit can be part and parcel of that. As for the cost, could you source the stuff yourself to build one? Possibly. Would you want to allocate that time? Possibly not. And at the end of the day, that package does look very slick. It does have a little feel about it. It has that little bit of a retro feel about it as well. It has that feel of, shall we say, earthiness, and it also just seems to work together. Obviously, you know, people may feel that they could source items together and make one, and that's you know, a fair point. But if you've got a spare bit of money, and it's not a fantastic amount of money by today's standards, I can't think of nothing better than to buy something like that den kit, give it to them, and that will be, in my mind, through the summer and summer's evenings, a bigger and better investment than that being spent on, shall we say, a computer console game for the kids. This will be getting them outdoors and giving them something that every kid does need, which is a little bit of the outdoors. As you can see, this wasn't a full review, as in outdoor test conditions. This was basically a look-see in the bag, and my first initial thoughts are a big thumbs up, and I shall be testing it at the nearest opportunity with my two young boys after he's been presented with it for his birthday, and I shall get his thoughts on it. But I can clearly see, and I can pretty much guarantee, he'll be more than happy with this.